Welcome to today's news briefing. Up next, we'll take a look at the latest developments unfolding across the world's major hotspots.
Event number 1. Iran's supreme leader threatens to close the Strait of Hormuz amid tensions. Event number 2. Ukrainian forces carried out a precision attack on the Russian air defense system in Crimea.
And now, for the details.
Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei declared that the leverage of closing the Strait of Hormuz must be used, and that Iranian attacks on neighboring Gulf Arab states will continue. His first statement since his appointment was read by an announcer on state television on Thursday. According to the Associated Press, Iranian state television offered no explanation as to why the 56-year-old Khamenei did not appear on camera. Israeli intelligence assessments indicate he was wounded in the war, likely in the February 28th Israeli airstrike that killed his father, the late 86-year-old supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The price of Brent crude, the international benchmark, surged back above $100 as Iranian attacks struck ships and the U.S. Israeli war with Iran showed no signs of slowing down. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has promised to finish the job, although he claims Iran has been all but destroyed. Key developments on Thursday included Iranian attacks on commercial vessels around the Strait of Hormuz and Iraq's Basra port, an escalation of a defensive strategy aimed at pressuring the U.S. by squeezing the wealthy Gulf region and threatening global economic stability. The first week of the war has cost the United States $3 billion, according to the Pentagon. The Israeli military is also conducting airstrikes on Iran and attacking its military ally Hezbollah in Lebanon, where more than 800,000 people have been displaced by the fighting. The UN Refugee Agency said up to 2 million people in Iran have been displaced by the ongoing war. Khamenei said that, like the Iranian public, he only learned of his selection as supreme leader through Iranian state television. He did not mention his location in the statement, nor the possibility that he is in a secure, secret location to avoid a threatened assassination campaign by Israel. Minutes after the speech ended, the sound of airstrikes again echoed across Iran's capital. In his speech, Khamenei acknowledged his father's death, signaling that he was at the scene afterward and had seen his father's body. Khamenei also confirmed his wife, one of his sisters, a niece, and the husband of another sister were also killed in the airstrike. "I had the honor of seeing his body after his martyrdom," Khamenei said of his father. "What I saw was a mountain of resilience, and I was told that the fist of his intact hand was clenched." The Israeli military's Arabic-language spokesman, Avichai Adrai, said on X that Lebanese residents should move north of the Zahrani River, which at its midpoint is about 35 miles from the Israeli border. More than 800,000 people in Lebanon have been displaced in the last 10 days during the latest conflict between Israel and Hezbollah, part of the broader Iranian war. Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei's remarks suggest that Iran could open new fronts in the war if it continues. That could potentially signal a return by Iran to the types of military attacks the United States has accused it of in the past, including the 1983 bombing of the U.S. Marine barracks in Beirut and others. One point I must emphasize is that under any circumstances, we will demand compensation from the enemy. If they refuse, we will seize their assets to the extent we deem appropriate, and if that is not possible, we will destroy their assets to an equivalent degree." When Ali Khamenei took over from the late Grand Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, he did not speak publicly right away, instead waiting until after a 40-day mourning period. However, Mojtaba Khamenei finds himself and the Iranian government he leads in perhaps their most desperate fight since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Khamenei also said that the leverage of closing the Strait of Hormuz must be used, and that Iranian attacks on neighboring Gulf Arab states will continue. Fighters from Special Operations Center A of the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, destroyed Russian air defense systems in the Crimean Peninsula and the occupied territories of the southeastern Zaporizhia region. Video of the operation was widely published on social media. The footage documents precise strikes on Russian military targets in various areas along the front line. Among the targets destroyed were a Buk-M1 self-propelled medium-range surface-to-air missile system, the Azovska oil depot, the Jankoy oil depot in the illegally annexed Crimean Peninsula, a technical logistics depot, and a fuel and lubricants warehouse in Zaporizhia. The attacks were carried out using Ukrainian FPV drones, highlighting the fact that the Russian army has a significant shortage of ground-based defense systems in some areas of the front line. The large number of Ukrainian drones deployed within Russia's direct line of sight also rendered the invaders' defense systems helpless. Previous reports indicated that on March 10th, Ukrainian forces also carried out successful attacks on the Kremny L microelectronics plant in Bryansk using Storm Shadow missiles. Ukraine has intensified its missile and drone strikes, targeting military objectives deep within Russian territory and in the occupied Ukrainian territories.